Hi everyone, welcome to the last session before the closing. For this presentation we will have two presenters. We have Scott Greenberger who will talk about CERT resources, and then our second presenter will join us halfway through. Sandra Roswell will talk about new research resources that are available for faculty as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Scott.
Okay, thank you. I'm Dr. Scott Greenberger. I'm the Manager for Research and Assessment here in the Center for Innovation in Research and Teaching. And this presentation is going to be on the CERT resources we offer to support your scholar engagement. Okay, so the starting point for faculty in terms of research is getting information to kind of think about where to start, all the way from ideation to publication. And we typically start with research consultations as getting faculty engaged in the process. So as doctoral faculty, this is a resource that's available to you. So whether you're a faculty member who is experienced and you just want to know a little bit about the resources we offer here in the center, or someone who is a new researcher, just starting out and you want to get some ideas on how to start, or maybe some resources in terms of how to design your study, the research consultations are an excellent starting point for that. We facilitate those via the Zoom or in person if you're on campus. So for those of you that are working in the residency events, that's an opportunity where if you have time, you can come by the center. We can schedule a time to sit down and talk with one of the center researchers. And again, yes, the Zoom session option as well. And it's really, again, to meet your needs where you're at. So the consultations could be, starting with the idea of like where to start with research, could be all the way to where you want to publish, and for us to give you some ideas on possible outlets, journals, etc., that you can utilize to publish your work. We also have the Purple File here in the center. So the Purple File, we work with the University Library to facilitate literature requests for faculty. This is just an added service that we offer here in the center. So for example, if you say, well, gosh, I'm not sure where to start with my literature review, you can submit a Purple File request that we facilitate and coordinate with the library to have the librarians retrieve literature for you. So they usually retrieve in batches of 5 or 10 articles. They retrieve that, send it to you so you can review it. Certainly you can go directly to the library for this service, but what the Purple File does is gives you another layer of support. So if essentially we follow up the library for you, we find out if there's some additional information, so you don't necessarily have to, call the library and talk to whomever. You can talk directly to us, and we can support that for you. So the Purple File, again, is just an added resource that we offer here to help you find literature. And then Research Ready. So Research Ready is a program that we've developed that offers information about methodology design for conducting research. And it's another good starting point. So if you say, gosh, I'm not ready for consultations, or maybe I've already had a consultation and I find out that I want to do a quantitative study and I want to get some more information on quantitative research, here's a way where you jump into the Research Ready program and you get some information that could be useful to actually conduct a quantitative study. So the Research Ready program, let me give you a little bit more information on that. So this is a web-based, self-paced program. So essentially it's kind of a wiki technology where you can go on the website and get information that you might need for a specific kind of research. So if it's just saying, I don't really know where to start, we have Introduction to Research. And if you go, I've got a specific methodology or design that I know I want to conduct, there are specific modules for that. The nice thing about the Research Ready program is it does offer a certificate of completion that you can put on your CV. So if you go through each of the modules and you answer the quiz questions and you submit the deliverable for the Research Ready certificate, you'll actually receive a certificate from the center of completion that you can add to that CV. But the nice thing about the Research Ready is that you don't have to complete the certificate. It is web-based, self-paced, so it's just like going to Wikipedia. You just jump onto our research website, and if you say, well, I know one specific piece that I'm interested in, I need to know about surveys, or I need to know about some specific aspect of research, that's maybe one module in an entire certificate, you can go right to that, get the information, and leave. And a lot of our users for our website actually just do that. They get the information and they go conduct research. But if you say you want to complete it, yeah, you can get that added benefit too. So some recent research ready certificates that we've developed. So we've developed research ready on correlation, experimental research, phenomenology, action research, hermeneutics, biblical interpretation, practice-based research, grant writing, peer review. So there's a whole host of research ready topics that we have on our website. You just go to our main website and click on research ready, and it'll take you to the list of some of those that we have up there right now. In develop, we've got several topics still in development: descriptive, grounded theory, narrative, and we're always open to other topics that that might be of interest to you. So if there's something we haven't covered, feel free to reach out to us, and we can put it in the queue of possible topics that can be developed. And we typically contract with SMEs in the colleges. So again, if you have a topic that in your specific college that you think is relevant for the kind of research that you're conducting, let us know. We can kind of put that idea out there. Maybe we can get one developed. So research grants. So we do offer a research grant option, and these are internally funded grants. This particular program is supporting research, faculty research, and it's specifically related to costs involved in actually conducting the research. So for example, if you have travel expenses related to the actual data collection, if you have software or hardware needs where there's a specific software needed for the actual data analysis, for example, or the data collection that the university does not have access to, here's a place where you can go and possibly get some monies to support getting that resource. Databases, surveys, and also graduate assistants. So we do fund, there's an opportunity to fund having a graduate assistant as part of your research as well. These are highly scrutinized grants. They are competitive grants. So, if you are interested in this sort of funding, please reach out to us. We can talk about your needs and see if it aligns well with the funding source, and then talk about the actual application process. So one of the research readies is presentation ready. So for example, let's say you've come to the CERT, we've done a consultation, you went through the process of research ready, you got site approved, IRB approved, you collected data, analyzed it, and you want to go out and present it at an academic conference. And you say, oh, gosh, I haven't presented at an academic conference in years, or I've never presented. Presentation ready is a certificate you can go through to find out how that process looks like, all the way from preparing your PowerPoints to, if you're going to do a poster session, creating the actual posters and what that looks like. We also do draft reviews here in the center. So if you get to the point where you've written up your manuscript, you go to get it submitted, you want to get it submitted to an academic journal, and you just want another set of eyes to look at it, we do a draft review. Now the draft review is a general review here in the center. If there are specific needs in your specific manuscript that go outside the scope of our knowledge here in the center, more of the social sciences and teaching and learning, we might reach out to specific colleges to get maybe a peer reviewer or someone to have the content expertise to help facilitate that draft review. But the point is that if you want another set of eyes before you submit it to an academic journal, we're here to help with that process. We have the Scholar Engagement Grant Program. So the Scholar Engagement Grant Program is essentially a internal funding source that we can provide for you to present your research or your scholarship at academic conferences. It's up to $1,250 per conference and a maximum of $2,500 per year. So presumably two conferences, but up to that total amount for the year. No international travel. So this is for domestic conferences only. And it is a competitive process and for several reasons. One, this year we've already kind of awarded all the grants that we have available. And at year over year, it's been very competitive in terms of this grant program. So if you're interested in this, again, you can reach out to us and we can explain the process to you. And what the Scholar Engagement Grant provides monies for is to support transportation, lodging, food, as well as conference fees to go and present at this conference that you've been accepted to. It is, again, it's competitive, and it is peer reviewed in the sense that we have a committee that actually reviews the applications and makes decisions on approval. And then academic journals. So we sponsor actually there's 5 journals in the university, but 4 that we sponsor directly here in the center, and that I'll talk about here in a moment. Okay, so the academic journals, so we have, these are the 4 that I just mentioned. And the Journal of Instructional Research, Canyon Journal of Interdisciplinary Studies, Journal of Scholar Engagement. and Journal of Educators Online. These academic journals are they're sponsored by the center, by the university, and they're a place where you can submit your manuscript for publication. They are peer-reviewed. They are three of them are already indexed. We're on the process of indexing the last one. So these are reputable journals. The Journal of Educators Online is, been around about 15 years. Journal of Instructional Research was founded with the 2012, so it's been 7 years. So these are established journals. Journal of Scholarly Engagement is a newer one. It's been here for 2 years. We started about 2 years ago. But the point with these journals is they offer a support for faculty to publish their work in reputable journals. And sometimes, this is a good starting point if you're a new faculty member and you don't know where to publish, and they align well with the kind of research you're conducting. It's a good way to get started to submit a manuscript to one of these journals. If one of the journals don't match your interest or align to the specific kind of scholarship that you're engaging in, we would help identify a journal that does. But the nice thing is we have these, we sponsor them, and we support faculty in submitting manuscripts for them. They are rolling call for papers. Essentially, the call for papers is ongoing for all of these. We do have some special issues that come up from time to time, but I would encourage you to take a look at these on our website, and if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us so we can answer those for you. But these are, again, sponsored by the center and a good resource for you to publish your scholarship. We have 2 recognition programs. So the biannual awards for ongoing scholarly activities include the Faculty Scholarly Recognition Award, and that is a 2 times a year we award faculty that recognition award, and all you have to do is update your CV on CV Builder. What we do is we pull the scholarship that's been submitted for each last 6 months, and we go through the process of essentially tabulating, and tallying up who's completed what and awarding. In the past, it's been in the top 15 or 20 faculty members have been awarded essentially the Faculty Scholar Recognition. The annual awards for scholarly achievement, so Distinguished Faculty Scholar, the Leadership in Research and Scholarly Activity. In the past, the colleges, the deans, and the college leadership has been involved in the process for nominating faculty for the Distinguished Faculty Scholar and Leadership in Research and Scholarly Activity, and those in the past have been awarded at the Fall Faculty Conference. So these are 2 areas where we're trying to provide support and recognize faculty for their achievement in engaging in scholarship. If you have questions about these, feel free to reach out to us. We can explain the process for you, whether it be how to input your information or how to nominate individuals for these awards. And lastly, so the site authorization process, currently we facilitate that through the center, and just an FY, it is required for doctoral faculty and staff. So if you want to conduct research and you want to collect data, whether it be through interviews, focus groups, surveys, archival data here at GCU, you would need to go through the process for site authorization. And this is a pre-process before you complete IRB. It's just to approve you to collect data here at the university for site approval. A note on the doctoral learners. So this is pretty established policy, but just a reminder that that this is the criteria for doctoral learners that might want to essentially collect data at GCU. That the doctoral learner has to have a clear affiliation with GCU as a full-time adjunct faculty member or work for GCU in another full-time capacity, and have administrative approval to submit for site approval. So in most cases, this would exclude doctoral learners that you might be working with, but it's important to be aware of this policy. So as you're advising your students, you can make provide good advice on how they might go about gaining site approval. And if you have any other questions about site approval, please reach out to us. We can explain that process to you. Okay, that ends the presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to take a look at cert.gcu.edu. You can email me as well, or some of the center staff. But if there are any questions that came up in the forum, I can answer them now. Otherwise, I can just look forward to any questions you might have in the future.
I didn't see any questions in the chat, Scott.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for the time to present on CERT resources.
Yeah, thank you. And now we have Sandra. Do you have access to share?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. Feel free to take over.
Okay, since I'm the last presenter today, and I'm sure you're all ready to get coffee or another iced beverage, I will go through this quickly. I am Sandra Rosewell. I am the director for the Office for Grants and Contracts inside the Office for Research and Innovation here at Grand Canyon University. We're a pretty new office. I was hired in February. Amy Ashley, our associate director in ORI, was hired last week. And our role is to support a proposal development and in both pre and post award for GCU. And we also manage all grants and contracts that are related to external research as opposed to CERT. They sponsor internal research and fund internal research projects. We also oversee policies and compliance, such as conflict of interest. We're working with the animal people to develop IACUC policies, and Dr. Mobley provides intellectual property management. We do have some awards already. These are the awards we've gotten in the last year. We've got two rather large ones, the Helmsley Charitable Trust with Dr. LaBelle for $2.2 million. And we just received a Masters of Divinity Program grant from the Kern Foundation in the College of Theology. College of Education also got a Kern grant. So we're rather proud of that. We are a little concerned that our trajectory is a little too high, that expectations are now very high, but we are trying to temper those a little bit. And some people have asked why we do research at GCU. Well, we think it supports GCU's teaching mission in helping to encourage both students and faculty in critical thinking and provides opportunities for leadership. It enriches the quality of education and enhances GCU's reputation and helps attract faculty. And this is what we do. We work with the faculty to advance their research capabilities. We help them with just the how-tos of grants. We work, like I said, on the pre-award stages of the grants and with drafting contracts. So if you have a sponsor, maybe someone out in industry who wants to sponsor a project you're working on, you would come to our office and we would put the documents in place. We would also help you with any policy concerns and any IP that would come out of that project. And some people ask, what is sponsored research? This is actually, I should have changed this slide and put more, what is a sponsored project? Because you can have a sponsored project that is not necessarily research. But for our office, they mean basically things that are funded externally. They usually have a defined statement of work with identified deliverables and a budget. And the funding mechanisms are grants, contracts, sales and service agreements. And the funding can come from all different types of sources, the government, for-profits, and nonprofits. And we do different types of proposals. We do the letter of inquiry, which is usually early in the process when we reach out to a funding agency and say we're interested in submitting a proposal to you. We have a letter of inquiry out to FINRA right now for something at College of Business. We have two out to the Koch Foundation. We also have the more common solicited proposals, and those are often government grants, NIH, NSF, things like that. And then sometimes the investigator can even go out and find funding opportunities and come to us and say, I found this opportunity I'm interested in. And most proposals have these common elements. And we get mostly involved when you get down to the budget justification, any facilities and resource statements, data management plans, compliance documents, letters of support. And that's one reason why you'll see later we want you to come to us early and often, especially if you're dealing with other institutions or businesses, because we will need documentation from them showing support of the project. We will need letters from them. We will need budgets from them. And I mentioned Amy Ashley, who just started with us. She is actually a grant writer, and she's also tasked with helping define funding opportunities. So she can work with you on the research plan and maybe some of the summary documents. So that is more, that's within her role. But that would be after you've actually found the funding opportunity and started to write the grant. She can help you pull everything together, and she'll even help you with research for if you need to research other companies or other foundations and you need information on what they do and what they'll fund. She can help you with that, and I'll talk more about that in a later slide. And this is what we talked about getting started on your proposal. We'll ask you for information, maybe present you with a document, something like this, asking you to summarize your project. Where do you think it fits inside GCU's mission? Is there a need for the research? What goals do you plan on meeting? There's one thing with, especially with a research proposal, you have to measure your success. They're going to ask you, how are you going to measure that your project was successful? How are you going to sustain the project? And that's often something that we are finding that faculty are missing in the beginning when they come to us with the proposal. They have a great idea, or they've done something and they said, this is very successful, and we'll say, well, how did you know it was successful? And the answer is, well, they liked it. And that's very tough to measure that someone likes something. So we like to work with the faculty early on to develop a data plan and how they're going to measure success. My niece works in fundraising, and she tells her people, no metrics, no money. Tell us how this is going to work. And then once we get this information from you, we'll work with you to start pulling the project together. And the first step after you've defined what your project is to find a funding opportunity. And there are many different places to look, and it can be overwhelming. One of the largest ones is the grants.gov, which lists all the federal agencies. There's also various listservs you can sign up for if you're interested in research in a specific area, like the NIH and the NSF. One place that's very useful, since we do not have a website yet at GCU, is to go to other university websites. Go to the University of Arizona, go to ASU, go to your alma mater. If they have a sponsored research office, they will often have very good links to funding sites. Sometimes even within the specific college. So if you're interested in an education grant, maybe go to the College of Education at U of A and see if they have a sponsored research site. They may have links to funding opportunities. And there's also the foundations and institutions. One of them, a good one, is the Resources for American Christianity. We have a subscription to the Foundation Center online, and they are a good source for foundations who fund, and you can search by topic and by state, so that can be very useful. You would have to come to us because we only have the subscription right now. And also go to the professional trade associations and do the research. If you're interested in funding in a specific area, read the literature, see what your peers are getting funded to do. And if they've published, the publication more than likely cites the funding source. And that can give you a clue on to who's funding this type of work. And then we have the proposal writing resources. You just heard from CERT. They have a lot of resources. Our library has guides. Grants.gov has guides. Again, other university websites can give you tips on how to write a grant. And we now have Amy who can help you. So there are resources available to help you actually pull the grant together. And like I said, we're here and we want you to contact us early and often so we can get started as soon as you have an idea. We do have a timeline we've developed. This is like in a perfect world. We would like to have 6 to 12 months to work on a grant. We know that's not going to happen. I am now working on a grant to the National Security Agency. We got the notice that the grant was available, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and it's due October 25th. So we don't often have a 6 to 12 months lead time. We often only have 2 months. So that's why it's important that if you do see something out there that you come to us right away so we can get to work on it, because we would like to have 14 days before the grant is due to review all the requirements, make sure the budget is accurate, make sure we have all the signed documents, because we have, especially if there's external collaborators, we need to work with them, making sure we have all their documents in place. And some grants require bids if we're going to be using external services. So I'm sure many of you have done grants, so this is not all new to you. But like I said, just the main thing is contact us early and contact us often. And I know I went through this very quickly. I am a fast talker, but if you have any questions, please let me know.
And Sandra, we do have one question in the chat from Mary. Can adjunct faculty apply for a grant?
Yes, if you are a contracted GCU employee, you have to have either be a student or a faculty at GCU, and my understanding is yes, an adjunct faculty could submit. You may need to have a full-time faculty working with you on the project, but again, it would depend on the funder. So many things. I use the term "it depends" a lot in grants because it depends. Different funders have different regulations, so, and each one is unique in their own way. So we would have to look at the funder's requirements, but generally speaking, I would say yes.
Perfect.
Oh, and there is one thing I forgot to point out, that when we submit a proposal and when it's awarded, the grant becomes a grant to GCU, not to the faculty member. So if a faculty member should leave GCU, the funder can decide whether or not they want the grant to stay with GCU or go with the investigator. And I've seen it work both ways. I've seen some funders who have left the grant with the institution, and I've seen some funders who have been happy to move the grant with the investigator when they've changed institutions. But I know there's sometimes there's a misunderstanding that the investigator will say it's my grant. No, the grants are always issued to the institution, not to the individual.
And it looks like we have another question in the Q&A.
Okay.
And I think this is about asking if we have a listing of the grants awarded with the substance of the grant. I think that's the question. Feel free to add to the chat or the Q&A if I have that question correct.
Yeah, I don't.
So I know you list. I think so. I know you listed the grants
okay.
and the awards that we have so far. So I don't know if there's additional details on those grants. Maybe is the question.
We did a press release has gone out on the Helmsley grant, or maybe it was the Kern grant. I think that went out in GCU today.
Okay.
I can, if they want to contact me, I can give them more additional information.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Were there any other questions? All right. I think we have everything covered so far.
Okay.
So feel free to reach out if anyone has questions through, definitely reach out.
Okay. And then talk to your dean if you have ideas, or come talk to us.
Wonderful. Well, our next session starts at 4:45. It's the closing session where we are giving away prizes and awards. So I look forward to seeing everyone there.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.